Hi guys, Charlene here from DreamDiaries.me, the only place to take action towards living your dreams. I am so excited. I sat down with my friend Amanda Rex, who is literally on a plane right now, traveling to India for 2 months. And she just quit her job. And when she comes back, she's actually starting a whole new career, stepping into the unknown and living her dreams. Let's take a look at her story.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell everybody what it is that you are about to embark on?
Well, I am about to, I quit my job the other day, so there's that.
You quit your job, and how long
Yes.
have you been working here, and what is your job?
Well, we're actually in my office right now, so I have been working here for 6 years, and I work in finance, or worked, I should say, and I'm about to leave for India on Sunday for 2 months.
And what are you going to be doing in India?
I'm going to be getting my yoga certification, actually. You're one of the people that inspired me, and you know, I'm also a health coach, which is something I've been working on over the past year. So I have a passion for working with people that have anxiety disorders, because that's something that I struggled with for a long time. So I want to learn techniques over there that they're just so good at, and bring that back and incorporate it into my practice here. And also just some time to explore and get adventurous again, and take some time off.
Where are you from originally?
Well, I was born in Seoul, South Korea, but I grew up in Arizona.
And when did you decide to move to New York?
You know, it was about a year after I graduated from college, so I was 23.
23?
Yeah.
And did you right away get this job, or?
No, I didn't. And actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because it's sort of similar, it feels like a similar time, because I had said at that time, you know, and I admire, maybe it's like my ignorance or something, but I was just like, I don't care, I'm moving to New York, you know, in finance in 2008, maybe not the best idea looking back on it, you know, but I was like, I don't care, like, I will bartend, I will waitress, I will do whatever it takes just to get to New York City, you know, and it just worked out that there happened to be an opening. There were never openings at my firm. There happened to be an opening, and you know, everything kind of worked out. But I just, you know, it was a leap of faith then, and so it feels like a very similar sort of like next chapter type thing now. So.
How long in the finance industry did you start to realize that maybe this isn't for you?
You know, it was not until maybe a year or two ago, and you know. And that's, I should say, like when I was conscious of it. I think before, like a big part of my anxiety was because I was trying to be someone that I wasn't, or try to live up to expectations that, you know, for me weren't something that I aspired to. And so then, yeah, I became more cognizant of it in the past couple years. And then all of a sudden, I just remember, you know, one day I was sitting in this office, in this chair, and I looked around, and, you know, at all of my colleagues and everything, and even my clients, and I realized that maybe what made them happy wouldn't make me happy, you know, so I didn't feel like I wanted to be on the same sort of path, like it just wasn't for me. And so then I was like, well then why am I here, you know? So why would I expect that if I stayed here my outcome would be any different, you know? So that's when it, you know, flipped the switch, and it went from just being like a feeling that something wasn't right to like, you've got to take action now, you've got to do something.
Right, so what is it that you did?
Well, so then I started getting certified in health coaching and started actively working on that. And so, you know, I actually came up with like a tangible plan for what I was going to do. And, you know, I really just took some time to think about what I'm passionate about, you know, like what kind of things just kind of make like time disappear for me. And it sort of organically formed into this new path.
So you talk about having anxiety.
Yeah.
Can you talk more about that, and when you actually realize, okay, this is a problem, and what steps you took to help yourself?
Yeah. I mean, anxiety was something that I think I'm just predisposed to as a person. And, you know, I think it's something when looking back I probably felt my entire life, but then it began to manifest itself physically when I moved to New York. I think I was just under that much more stress, you know, it's a big city, it's like the best and the brightest here, and it's a lot of pressure and competition, especially in finance here. And So then it began to physically manifest, like I was saying, in panic attacks. And these are things that I couldn't hide, you know, like my face would flash and I would just get like very like clammy and, you know, just, it wasn't a good scene. Right. And so, but, you know, like I said, it was something that I couldn't run away from and or cover up, which is what I think I was doing my entire life before that. And so I had to deal with it. And so that's sort of what.
And what did you do to deal with it?
Well, I didn't know. At first I didn't really know what was happening to me. So it took some research on my own and just speaking to other people. And then I remember I had gone through a really bad breakup at the time, and I took my first yoga class. And it was just very cool. And I remember, like, during the yoga class I would feel so good. And I was like, well, why? And it's really because when you're doing yoga, they encourage you to focus on the present, right? As you know, it's like you're focusing on the pose or your breath or whatever. And when you have anxiety, you know, you're focusing on either the past or the future. For me, a lot of times it was the future. What if this happens? What if that happens?
Right,
you know?
right.
But so then I was like, okay, so that's why it's working. And then so I began to become more deeply involved in yoga, and just naturally through that, you know, you start eating better and realizing, I think it's all about becoming conscious, which is what I want to build my practice on, is like, you know, a lot of people aren't aware, you know, they just kind of go through life or whatever, being pushed and pulled in whatever direction, and we've kind of lost like a consciousness or awareness. And so that's something that I think led to me making better choices about like what I was eating and you know, the way I conducted myself. You know, it led me to living a life with more integrity and things like that. So that's kind of what kick-started it all for me.
And that's what made you sign up to become a health coach, or?
Yeah, definitely. You know, because I looked at a couple things. I actually thought about getting my MBA before that, and so I was doing the process, and I was like, "This is just too much of a struggle. Like, I haven't even started yet, and I don't want to do it." You know?
Oh, I know how that feels.
Yes. I was like, if I can't even apply to school, what am I?
Right.
School,
Would you say you thought you should be going to that next step?
Yeah, because, you know, if I would have stayed in this career, it's a great thing to have, you know, and it probably would have benefited me a lot, but it's just, it felt so forced, you know.
Right.
But then I found this, and I went to, there's an Institute for Integrative Nutrition in New York City, and I just started the coursework and looked at the curriculum, and it just felt very natural, you know.
Right.
And so I just kind of went with my intuition and did that.
Let's go back to a year ago when you had that sort of inner voice or that moment telling you, you know what, this probably isn't the thing that's gonna, like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
When did you decide, okay, I'm gonna quit my job and go to India and get yoga certified and decide to become a health coach? Like, how did all that happen?
Yeah, it's a good question. It wasn't all at once.
Okay. You
know, it wasn't all at once. And so this is what I tell a lot of people too. It's like, you know, you kind of have to leave yourself open to possibilities, because I mean, if you would have asked me like even a year ago, like, are you going to be going to India to pursue this? I would have not had any clue, you know.
Right.
And so it's just sort of one thing led to another, and then, you know, be aware for certain signs, opportunities, things that kind of draw you in, and as you follow that, you know, like, your life just kind of follows and it goes in this direction that just feels like, oh, this is how it was meant to be.
Right.
So it wasn't all at once, it just sort of happened as a result of one thing happening.
Right. But you had visited India how long ago?
It was a year ago in February.
A year ago in February.
Yeah.
And when she went there, did that click for you, like, okay, I want to come back here and I want to? Yeah.
I mean, even just personally, India is such a beautiful country, has so much to offer, so diverse, that I would, you know, I could spend the rest of my life exploring just India alone, you know. And then when I was there, I was at a yoga festival. I didn't even plan that. It was just I wanted to stay in this certain place, this ashram, and they were like, well, you can stay, but we're having a yoga festival, an international yoga festival that week.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm meant to go to this thing, because it was the exact dates, you know, as for me being there. So, you know, I find out this is kind of a big deal, and like all these people plan like all year to come to this thing.
Right.
So I go, and then one of the lecturers who really impressed me, I just went up to him after class and I was like, you know, I was a big fan of your lecture series on meditation the whole week, and so he told me about his school. And so then I looked up his school, and he invited me to come study with him, and just kind of kept in contact, and that's how I got linked up with the institute that I'm attending this go around in India. So like I said, I mean, these are things that you just can't even plan for, you know, it just happen.
So how did it feel last week, right? Was it Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
Last Thursday when you walked into your boss's office and you told him, I'm not coming back.
I was really scared, you know, that was like the one thing. Yeah, I was really scared because he's like my dad. I call him like my New York City dad, you know, and so I didn't want to like disappoint him, but at the same time, I mean, you know, and that just says a lot to him too, is that it was bittersweet, you know, he's sad to see me go, and I'm sad to, you know, not be working with him and my colleagues, but he was like, I'm really proud of you, that like you're following your heart and stuff, and so I really appreciated that. And after I did it, I mean, it just felt like there was a weight, kind of, that came off of my shoulders, and I thought that, like, the closer I got to telling him, and even, like, after, that I would feel maybe, like, a twinge of regret or panic, like, what am I doing, what am I doing? But it just, none of that, you know? It's just, my life has never been more, like, you know, like, nebulous or unknown, but I've never felt more at peace, though, at the same time, you know? And so it's, like, this weird thing that I can't explain, but it's just, I know I'm doing the right thing.
So once you get back from India, I want to make this very clear, right? You're not coming back to this job.
No.
You actually are stepping into the unknown, because you're going to start your own health coaching business, right? And you're going to help other people basically do what you healed yourself doing, right? Which is, you know, help people who have anxiety through the choices that they make in their food, right?
Their food, and then their lifestyle, and just everything. Like I said, just a higher level of awareness. I think everyone has the power to heal themselves, you know. A big part of my focus, too, is to realize that anxiety is a gift, you know. It's, you know, you can either look at it as something like, why me, why is this happening to me, as like a victim, or you're like, this could be one of the greatest tools I've ever been given to, you know, make me wake up, or make me make that change to, you know, improve my life and not feel, you know, captive or a slave to this feeling anymore. And so once you work yourself through it, you're just like, you know, and for myself, and I know for others that I've spoken with that have sort of come out the other side, so to speak, they're like, I wouldn't do it any other way, you know, like I wouldn't not have it, you know, so.
You, luckily, have been on Dream Diaries on the website, actively putting out your gratitude list. Can you talk about how that's changed your life? Because it's been about a year that you share your gratitude lists, and it's something that I do every day, and it's something that I feel so passionate about, and why I actually made this website, because like you said, with having anxiety, gratitude and holding a space for gratitude in your daily life really keeps you present. So can you talk about that?
Of course.
Yes.
Well, it's a really great site that you have, and you know, I share it with clients, I share it with friends and family.
Thank you.
Of course. I mean, it's something where, you know, it's not as simple as it seems. You know, you're not just like arbitrarily making these lists or whatever. Like you said, it does keep you present. And like in times when I would go to it, like in times when I felt, you know, like things were out of control, or I was having a bad day or something, because it really reframes everything. And it's like, you have everything you need right now, you know, to create the life that you want, to be completely content and feel joy. It's great for relationships too, like friends and, you know, family members, and, you know, my boyfriend, like I'll go on there and say things that I'm grateful for that he did for me, like he made me breakfast today or something, you know, things that might just not, you know, just sort of slip over our minds. So I think that it's a really great practice to have for anyone.
Yeah, and it's different than just thinking about it, like, oh, I'm grateful my boyfriend made me breakfast, but to actually create a list or to write it out, doesn't it give it more power?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like a diary in a way, you know, and it sort of shifts, and you might find like what you're grateful for has changed over the years, and I know that I get influenced by your lists, and you know, the other people on there, like their lists and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess I am really glad that I can, like, you know, afford my bills, my health insurance bills, you know, or something that you might just not have.
I put that one all the time.
She did, and I was like, you know, it's a good one.
I need to put that down, because there were some years that it was iffy, you know.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Of course.
What advice would you give to somebody right now who's in a job or in a situation that they just feel absolutely powerless and they don't know where to go. And you know, I get this question all the time of, you know, I don't know how to get out or how to leave.
Right.
So what advice would you give somebody?
I would just say first, you know, is it something where you necessarily need to change your job, or is it just something like about your job, you know, that needs tweaking? Like, is it a different department, or, you know, a different manager or something, or a different attitude, like when you're doing your job or something. It doesn't have to be such a drastic thing like I'm doing, but, you know, if you do decide that a change needs to be made, I would just say, you know, always follow your heart and the rest will come around, you know. This is something I do with my clients too. Identify, like, you know, 3 to 5 things that are really important to you that you want to get done in your life, like in your lifetime, like, you know, having a family or something like that, something in your career. And then focus your time on those and find a way to do as much of that as possible in your day and make that, you know, make that a job for you. You know, it doesn't have to be a job that already exists, you know. I mean, there's health coaches, but not so much, you know. But it's like, I love to travel, I love to make food, I love to write. And so, you know, I'm kind of pulling together this kind of job that's like specially made for me, you know. So, you know, people talk about like flow state, where you lose all sense of time, like I was mentioning earlier. Just those things that make you do that, that's what's telling you that you're meant to do those very things, and those are your gifts, you know, to the world. So just find a way to do that as much as possible, even if it's a hobby, you know, for a few hours a week. Start there, and you never know what can come of it.
Yeah. What would you say to your 23-year-old self that just like, would you have really shocked yourself? Like, if your 23-year-old self would know what you're doing now, do you think you would have been surprised?
Yeah. I mean, I would have been like, what? You know, like, you know, that's crazy. I mean, it's just, I don't even think that would have been like on my radar at the time, you know? So it's like, I think like, okay, I'm 28 now. When I'm 33, what am I going to be you know, it's just, you just don't know. So, I would have had no idea that this was coming, but I'm so glad that it did. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've said this a million times over, but it is so brave and so courageous to be doing what you're doing, and I want to honor this step. You know what I mean? Like, this is a huge step, you know, towards living your dreams, you know, and I think most people get caught up in the outcome and what's going to happen, and how I'm going to, you know, survive, and how am I going to pay my health insurance, and how is this going to happen, right? And these are things that are floating in your head that I'm sure might have kept you from taking this step. But beyond it all, you listen to yourself, right? And that voice just got louder and louder and louder till all that other stuff just fades away, and you cannot not do this. You know? It's like, regardless of the outcome, you're going for it.
Totally. I think externally, you know, it looks like I have a choice. Like, I could stay here, or I could, you know, do this new path. And it's like, you know, I'm sure a lot of you have felt this way, or are going to feel this way when you start following your heart. But it becomes less of a choice to you when you're in it. You know, you just feel compelled to do this thing. And so, you know, at this point, it's like, it's not a choice. It's like, I have to do this. So.
That is so wonderful. It gets me so excited to hear when other people are taking action, like massive action, and really leaping into the unknown, because you have no idea when you come back from India what your life is going to look like, how you're going to pay your bills, what's going to happen, but you're going for it, right? You're just fucking going for it, to put it bluntly. So thank you so much for sharing, your incredible story, and for all of you that are interested in reading about Amanda's story and your journey, basically. Are you going to be sort of updating us on the website?
I'm definitely going to be blogging about it on
like
the
how we
site.
did that?
You know what I mean? The international
right. Yeah. Where can they find like your blog and your information about you?
Okay, so it's all on my site, which is just www.amandarex.com. So it's there. But I want to say also thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be a part of the site. Like I said, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of you. You've been with me from the beginning. I remember telling you in that Japanese restaurant that we were at in New York that I was doing this, and you were so excited and so supportive of me from the start, and you're one of my inspirations, totally. So this feels very full circle to me, so thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, listen, I'm with you, girl. You better be sharing everything. Next it'll be me in India. Log on to dreamdiaries.me about taking action towards living your dreams. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, little dance. Somebody's leaving. The clients. And no shoes. Because it's so damn hot in here. All right, bye. See ya.